for tonight's event. We have, I forgot to change the title of it, but we have the student action panel right now with Joyce and Navia from New Jersey Student Sustainability Coalition. We have Frida and Rhythm from New Jersey Student Climate Advocates, and Helena will be joining us later from the Green Cause. So all of these groups are student-led and work on a statewide basis. So it's really exciting. So before we get started and hear from our wonderful panelists, I just wanted to go over some of the guidelines to the challenge itself. So the New Jersey Student Climate Challenge is open to all 6th through 12th graders that go to public schools in New Jersey. We are asking that you keep the teams from about 2 to 12 students, and they will be completing a school or community project that addresses either the human causes of climate change or the impacts that climate change has on the environment. And in order to, put everything together in one nice package, we're asking them to make a digital story video about the project, how they came up with it, how it was done, and really gets them to kind of experience that storytelling aspect that is really important. So we have a workshop up on our YouTube playlist that students can look at to kind of get ideas on how to make that video. This is just a brief timeline of how the challenge will go. So all of this month, we've had educational sessions both aimed at students and professional development for teachers. And April 1st is when the challenge submissions will be due. And in May, that is when we will announce the finalists. So in June, we'll have the culmination of everything, a really exciting awards ceremony at the Drumthwacket House, which will be hosted by the governor and the first lady. And this is where we will award the prizes for first, second, and third place winners. And these prize amounts are very awesome. And they also allow for you to kind of build on the sustainability project that you work on for this project. Great, so we are going to get to today's speakers, and first up will be Frida and Rhythm from the New Jersey Student Climate Advocates. So I'll stop my share so they can share their slides.
Hi everyone, I'm Rhythm Chaudhary. I'm a high school senior in Edison, New Jersey, and I'm co-chair of NJSCA along with Frida. And I guess we can give a basic introduction about how we both got into climate action. And so I just like to say that in 2018, I first watched a documentary on Netflix, and believe it or not, that really inspired me to learn more about climate change and what exactly it's been its effects on society. And over the years, eventually I was referred to NJSCA by one of my friends, and in this organization I've learned about policy to publicity, and it really shaped my idea of activism, and I've grown a lot since then, and hopefully will continue to grow as I work with this team. And Frida, if you want to go.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Frida, and I'm a first year at Princeton University, and I am the other co-chair of NJSCA and one of the co-founders of the Green Cause, another group that's going to be presenting a little bit later. But yeah, I guess my story is I've always had a passion for nature and the environment ever since I can remember. And even like in first grade, like I remember just leading like my friends to like clean up like the trash on the fields. And it's the little things like that that really like put my passions, and I think also my love of science really did it for me. But I think just like Rhythm, a friend of a friend referred me to NJSCA, and I just wanted to have like an organization, like a place to involve myself in. And I was very, curious about their original like policy work, and then which transitioned into more environmental justice work. And that has taught me a lot about not only what activism is or how it could actually help people, but also people in underserved communities, and really understanding the impacts that even though there are certain policies that are supposed to help, it doesn't help everybody equally. And it's very important to bring that conversation into light.
Yeah, so we'll get started with our presentation now. We just want to give a brief overview about NJSCA and our work. So we're going to start with talking about our origins. And basically, we were founded in 2017 by some Princeton University students. We were founded to create climate change mitigation policy, and with support of several faculty advisors at Princeton. And for several years, up until August 2020, we worked with State Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker and others to develop a carbon cashback policy, which we believed had the goal to help all residents of New Jersey and fight back against the effects that climate change has on the environment and public health. What we realized along the way, as we created our 94-page white paper, contacted 100+ stakeholders, and finally completed our draft bill in summer 2020, we realized after talking to environmental justice advocates that there was a lot that was missing from our perspective of New Jersey and climate change. Although we thought that our policy as a carbon fee would be helping, not hurting, we realized that our policy did not benefit everyone equally in New Jersey, specifically those people who live in underserved communities in New Jersey. So we had to shift our focus. As we realized this, we began to shift our focus from this huge policy that we had been developing for many years now to a completely different side of climate action. We wanted to focus more on revising what we had learned in the past years, and instead focus on using these main guiding principles to use in our new future work. What we learned was that helping can hurt, and if you have a goal in mind, it's not a just relationship. We had to make sure that we were actually communicating with people in New Jersey that come from underserved communities. These communities are referred to as environmental justice communities, and they have been known to face the brunt of climate change historically. This dates back centuries. And so we realized that this change will take time and intergenerational collaboration. So for the past year and a half now, we have been working to create new projects and move away from our old policy to focus on a new goal of helping environmental justice communities and not stepping on their voices, but instead highlighting their goals, their messages, and overall revising what we first thought of as proper activism. Because we realized that there were more steps that we had to take to ensure that this was actually a just and fair action and plan. So Frida, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so speaking along those terms, once we've made our transition, and we're still in the midst of process of it, but we've been working along with our 3 separate teams. So we have a publicity team where we have different social media projects such as Fun Fridays, and at some point they had Mutual Aid Mondays. So it's very like interactive content to kind of educate the general public. Then we have a community action team, which focuses a lot on community relationship building. So whether that being trying to maintain a relationship with the New Jersey Environmental Justice Alliance or amongst other groups, and just helping them with whatever they may need help with, whether that's summarizing research articles or getting more into depths with like there's certain campaigns or there's certain events. We're definitely there to help them. And then we have a policy engagement team that focuses more on grant writing and creating articles and content that has a lot to do with not only environmental policy, environmental justice policy, but also our transition as a student group, going from our carbon cashback days, as we like to call it, to the work that we do now. And we've even written a little article that we're planning on self-publishing within the couple next months about said transition, and we'll definitely be displaying it for anyone to read if they like. And we're also working on a potential project relating to looking into deeper PM 2.5, which for those who don't know is like particulate matter, and that very much negatively affects a lot of these environmental justice communities. So it's important to highlight this as, you know, of course, greenhouse gases are very important, but so is PM 2.5. And yeah, thank you so much. And of course, we'd love to hear any questions that you have. You can obviously email nj.climate.policy@gmail.com, or definitely ask any questions in the chat.
I know there was one question for Rhythm. Someone wanted to know what documentary it was that inspired you.
Yeah, it was actually Before the Flood, featuring Leonardo DiCaprio. And it used to be on Netflix, now it isn't. But yeah, it's actually really interesting, so you should check it out.
Thank you for that. And thank you for your presentation. That was awesome. It's really great to, I know, like I saw the NJSEA like evolution in real time. So it was really exciting to see the shift in what you guys came up with. And then we have one question here about how did you get the attention of the state representative?
Yeah, actually, we had the first students that founded the group. They were already working with faculty advisors at Princeton University. So I think they had connections. They reached out to the state assemblyman because he was already looking to like, he was already researching this type of policy, the carbon cashback, carbon trading mechanisms. So basically that's how it all began.
Great, thank you. And definitely everyone feel free to put any more questions for Frida and Rhythm in the chat or our Q&A box. They will be with us for a little bit longer. And next up is going to be Joyce and Navia from the New Jersey Student Sustainability Coalition.
Perfect. I'll just share my screen. Can everyone see that? So is it like working?
Oh yeah, it's there. You're good.
Okay, perfect. So I guess I can just start. So I'm the high school co-chair of the New Jersey Student Sustainability Coalition. My name is Navia, and I go to school in Livingston, New Jersey. I'm a junior, and I would say what kind of got me into sustainability was my school held a kind of like an eco summit, almost similar to this one, but we had like speakers who are currently working in the field right now. And so one of the speakers talked about a event that happened when she was a child. So it was some time ago, but she talked about it happening in India, which was, and the town where it happened was just 15 minutes away from where my parents grew up and where I used to go like in the summer to visit my grandparents. So when I finally, I always cared about climate change, of course, but when I saw like how close the effects were to the people that I cared about, it always felt like such a distant problem. But when I actually saw that things were already happening, it really like got me to take action. And so I found NJSSC through a couple of students of my school, seniors at my school, who were in the coalition and they were graduating. So they shared the information with me. So then I got involved. But that was kind of my call to action, I would say.
I can also introduce myself. So hi, I'm Joyce Moe. I'm a sophomore at Princeton University, majoring in chemical and biological engineering. But I really became involved in the sustainability movement. I think middle school and early high school. One of my high school teachers really encouraged us to join the environmental club and learn more about the movement. And since I got involved then, I've just like discovered so many other like avenues to help out with sustainability. So senior year of high school, I think NJSSC or New Jersey Student Sustainability Coalition had a leadership summit that I attended and really enjoyed. I found that this coalition just became like part of my life since then. But I guess even earlier on, before then, I've always kind of been interested, well, I've always appreciated the environment since my dad always took us out on hikes and beaches, and I've always kind of had this like just appreciation for the outdoors.
So just a little background on who we are and what we do. So NJSSC is a group of about 220 plus students across New Jersey. And we have about 14 colleges and 70 high schools involved in the coalition. And our primary goals are resource building. So ensuring that people who like students have access to the resources that it would take to do their own climate initiatives and learn about, what it takes, like learn about advocacy. Political action, we have a couple of political action campaigns that are working on getting certain bills passed, and then programming. So hosting webinars and seminars similar to this, hosting summits and getting projects out there. So that is like kind of the gist of what we do. So Joyce, do you want to take this?
So our mission as part of the our organizational mission is to connect with other like-minded peers. So that's really just finding other students across New Jersey who are interested in sustainability and making sure we have a place where everyone could feel like, maybe if you only know 5 other people in your local area who are interested in sustainability, joining the coalition is a way to realize that there's other people all across the state who are also, care about the environment. Our other goal is to make sure we build student power to impact our communities, campuses, and state. So alone, maybe a group of 5 people can only do so much, but with a coalition of over 200 students, we have a much stronger voice at that point. And lastly, we seek to empower students to take on leadership roles in their communities and their larger movement. So as part of NJSSC, we really make sure that college students or other leaders and other high school students too are encouraged to take on leadership roles, whether that's like organizing your own campaign or seeking guidance from someone who's had experience with that. We make sure that this is something that we really care about.
Yeah, exactly. We really do focus on connecting people all across the state. We have different regional coordinators. This photo is a photo from a climate rally that NJSSC members participated in, and they got to, this was a couple of years ago. This was when I was a freshman. So this is people from my school came, but there was people from all over the states. That's we really do try to create interconnectedness. So we're just gonna kind of go a little bit into the different teams that are within NJSSC and the kind of work that they do to help the coalition and to help our overall mission. And so these are the types of teams that our members join and work on. So one example is the outreach and communications team. So their job is to kind of get all written communication out for NJSC. So they create a newsletter for us every month. They work on blog posts on our website, which is njstudentsustainability.com. And they also host like some of our larger, more comprehensive events. Like the specified events are held, except specified webinars and stuff are held by certain teams that we'll talk about later. But when we have broad like awareness events, trying to get the mission of NJSC out there, they would host these. So one example is the Winter Summit we recently hosted. But yeah, outreach communications, you learn a lot of publicity skills, a lot of, we do press releases, build media lists. So if you're interested in any of that, this would be the team for you.
We also have a social media team that's kind of connected to outreach and communication, but this team specifically is responsible for creating and posting graphics on our social media platforms, whether that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. In addition to social media, the team also creates just like general graphics and flyers in case we want to put something up on our own campuses. Most campaigns or other like teams that we have in NJSSC have like members of the social media team like who are representatives on other campaigns, and they're responsible for more specific social media outreach related to like one specific campaign that we are focusing on.
Yeah, for example, like the New Jersey electric utility regulation, we did like an informational graphic on that, and that was hosted by the Clean Energy Equity Act campaign. So the social media team worked with that campaign to create like an informational graphic that would go on our social media page and people could share. The next thing is the policy team. And so the policy team researches environmental policy on both federal and state levels, sometimes even local levels, and approves new policies for NJSC to campaign. So we do have some campaigns that are specific to different bills that NJSC trying to help get passed. And so the policy team is kind of the stepping stone for that, because they research these bills that are going through local parliament, and they make recommendations. An example of a project that the policy team has done is they've created during the 2020 elections, they created a huge voter guide that would help people understand like the different candidates in the state and what their different policies are specifically on environmental action.
Connected to our policy team is the Green Amendment campaign and our Green Amendment team. So this is born actually out of someone from the policy team who learned about the Green Amendment and figured that this was the campaign that they wanted to focus on and really dedicate time and effort towards. So the Green Amendment will basically amend New Jersey's Bill of Rights to include rights to clean air, clean water, and a stable climate, and basically a livable environment for all. So the team works with other organizations across New Jersey to lobby and raise awareness for the bill. It's not just NJSSC. We are really making sure that we're connected with other organizations that happen to also be focusing on the Green Amendment. And the Green Amendment campaign has 5 different tactics that we use to take action and make sure that like we can try to help get this bill passed. So those 5 tactics include lobbying, local resolutions, outreach, social media, and mainstream media.
So the next one is the water team, and the water team is a relatively new campaign. So this was proposed to us by someone who was passionate about like different ocean-based and water-based environmental issues. So the team works on looking at policy and trying to educate people about different water issues, such as shore, the waste that is brought to the shore, specifically medical waste from the water. So these are like, they work on different projects. They're relatively new, like I mentioned. So some of they're hoping to start working soon. They're looking for more members on the team. So an example of like some of the projects they would do is they would plan webinars to educate on gray water, which is essentially recycled water that's used for irrigation. It comes from like washing machines and sinks and stuff, and so it's water that's not like totally, you know, unusable like toilet water. It's used for so like washing machine water, it's used for irrigation. So it's really cool. It's a really cool concept. So these are some of the projects that the water team would work on. And then they would also work on policy, like with the policy team and some of the other campaigns.
Well, recently we also have a team of people who focus on mental health. So in the past, we had a few discussions where we talked about advocacy burnout, where it was just like there's just so much going on as students, like on top of classes. So this team specifically is focused on planning and organizing events to help combat burnout, bring awareness to mental health overall. Some of those activities and events that have been planned to help with mental health include like workshops for student productivity, webinars for mental health awareness, and just general event sessions and game nights. And this also helps with team bonding.
So one of our other campaigns is the plastics team. So this team was previously proposed to help advocate for the New Jersey plastic ban, which was passed in 2020. And essentially now what the team does is they try to raise awareness about the harmfulness of plastic to the environment. And they work on different challenges and different projects to help reduce plastic and talk about plastic throughout the state. And another thing that they're trying to do is talk about, now that the plastic ban has been passed, what is the future of it, and how do we get that, to make a difference. That's the plastics team.
We have another team focused on art and activism called the Artistic Activism team. So this team uses various forms of art, whether that's film, drawings, paintings, photography, and writing, to raise awareness about environmental issues. And kind of connected, I guess, to social media, but this team focuses on partnering with other teams and organizations, and we use art to like build relationships within NJSSC. Some of the events that the Artistic Activism team has planned include workshops that like feature artwork, or that use the idea of like using trash and other waste to create sculptures and pieces of artwork that could otherwise would have been thrown out in landfills.
Okay, so the diversity and inclusion team works on talking about the intersectionalities between environmentalism and marginalized groups, such as environmental justice, which talks about the disproportionate effects of environmental hazards on low-income and minority communities. So the diversity and inclusion team not only promotes diversity and equity in the policy that we choose to support, making sure that we're supporting policy that is not going to overlook marginalized communities, but it also makes sure that as a coalition, we're promoting diversity and equity and equitable opportunities. Recently, they did like a screening of The Sacrifice Zone, which is an environmental justice documentary about New Jersey.
In terms of events that we have coming up, the Artistic Activism team has a student environmental art contest, and this is just a way to encourage more students to share artwork that have already been made or are currently in progress that highlight an environmental issue. Entries are being accepted from February 1st to March 1st. The requirements to submit artwork is to just be like a middle school, high school, or college student in New Jersey. Artwork must highlight an environmental issue, and the form of the artwork could be poetry, short story, recorded, drawn, painted. So pretty much it's a wide variety of artwork that we're accepting. And on the slideshow is the link to the submission form.
Yeah, I'll drop it in the chat once I'm not screen sharing. But yeah, that's the link to submit art and some more instructions. So some ways to get involved is, so first you would sign up at the tiny link there, that's our form, and you would be added to our Slack channel and onboarded as a member from someone from the outreach and communications team. They'll talk to you about what you're interested in and which teams you would like to join. So you would join one of the teams and you would start working. You can talk about leadership opportunities if you're interested in that. You would talk about community service hours, because we do offer community service hours for school. So if you want to get any hours verified, just let them know and they can help you go through that process. If you would like to get trainings on certain skills, if you're trying to plan an event, you can get an event planning training. If you are trying to do some recruitment, we offer recruitment. We have a whole list of trainings and we have a training coordinator. So in your onboarding, if you mention that, they can guide you there, and you can always reach out to me, Joyce, or Joanna, who is our alumni advisor, to set up one of those trainings. And also, if you're interested, you can propose a campaign that you would like to have, that you would like to see at NJSSC. Is there a certain bill that you'd like, or there's a certain topic that one of our teams isn't covering yet? Just you would make a proposal to our e-board, which consists of me, Joyce, Joanna, and our secretary and our two reps, which is a college rep and a high school rep. So you would make that proposal, and you would be able to start your own campaign if your idea, it's a cool idea, pretty much. But yeah, so here is all of our information. And I don't know if the links have already been added to the chat, but I'll make sure to do that. And yeah, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat.
We have one question about the art contest, if the submissions will be displayed anywhere.
Yeah, so our if you do submit and you if you win like a prize, then your art would be shared on the Instagram and our other social media networks. And yeah, if you want any more about that. I also should mention that I didn't mention this before, but we have a pretty big partner network. So we are actually, if you would like any opportunities, we're kind of looking into that right now. So hopefully someone on our like leadership team can help connect you with an opportunity for the summer or something with one of our partners, or help you get involved with other groups as from like our network.
Great, thank you so much, Navia and Joyce. And as I mentioned, I am the alumni advisor of this group, so I will be running most of the trainings if anyone's interested in trainings from that presentation. But yeah, I would like to give some time now to Helena from the Green Cause.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm the environmental educators head from the Green Cause, and I'll share my screen now. Can you see my screen for me? It says it's loading.
Yeah, it's still loading on our end too.
Okay.
I think I have it if you want me to try. I can.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah, I sent it over to Joanna.
Okay, so could you click to the next slide? What is the Green Cause? The Green Cause is a fiscally sponsored youth-led organization, and it's fully volunteer. And our mission is to bring environmental education into schools and communities through classroom lesson plans and social media content. So our volunteers are all high schoolers who are passionate about the environment, and they can create content based on their interests, ranging from deforestation to various types of pollution. And we hope to not only plant a seed of interest into those who interact with our content, but to empower the youth to be part of the solution as well. The goal of our initiative is to create a domino effect to educate the world on environmental education. So first, our goal is our target audience is to educate our members, who then educate their family and friends, and then they educate others in the community, and then the community educates and influences the world. So we have 3 pillars for the Green Cause, and the first one is to make our lessons interactive and engaging. The second one is to be solution-based, so it's not completely negative and it makes people feel like they can do something too. And our most recent pillar is providing real-life solutions and examples to issues that are covered in our content, to bring the content closer to home and make it seem more tangible instead of something that's really foreign and something that the students can relate to. And for our recruitment process, we reach out to schools through emails, and we post on our social media, and we have an interest form, and the people who are interested can fill out their information and which subgroup they may want to be part of and what topics they would be interested in. Recently, we've been networking through various environmental organizations, ranging from the Alliance for New Jersey Environmental Education to the Earth Institute at Columbia University to Youthify, the New Jersey School Boards Association, and more, with the goal of helping to spread importance of environmental education. So we have 4 different teams. The first one is our social media team. So the main aspect of the social media team is to contact different groups and recruit students to the Green Cause. However, that's not the only thing that the social media team does. They're also in charge of making research infographics that will be posted on our Instagram. And the infographics are a summary of an issue and the way readers can contribute to solving the problem. And if you're passionate about the environment but don't want to make a full presentation, you can make an infographic, and that would be the sub-team for you. Next, we have environmental educators, which is the subgroup that I'm the head of. So I help manage and guide the members through the presentations. So the goal of environmental educators is to create a presentation and research an environmental topic that you're passionate about. And a lesson template has been provided by the Green Cause that guides them through their research process. And for now, all presentations will be virtual due to COVID. So they'll either be by filming a pre-recorded video or doing a live Zoom class session, but hopefully in the future, we'll be able to give our presentations in person. Next, we have our technology team. So they contribute to all the behind the scenes work of the Green Cause. They put together the videos for the environmental educators. And this is definitely a team to join if you're interested in working in video editing, website making, and utilizing your programming skills. Our final team is the Arson Designs team. They create the visual aspects of our work, and they've worked on our logo and different flyers and can help with presentations as well. Why we do what we do. So personally, I got into environmental education because I saw all the issues around me, and I realized that many people weren't aware of the issues or small things that they did that impacted the environment. And the Green Cause noticed that students and youth weren't really being taught environmental education in school. And if they were, it focused on the negatives and the problems with the environment instead of providing a solution that the students could help with. And that created a feeling of hopelessness. And we wanted to educate members in a way that would be beneficial to the environment. And one way that we encourage students to participate in what we do is providing volunteer hours. So it's based on the hours that you work and put into your presentation and research. And these are our contact information. So you can visit our website that was made by the tech team, and our email, Instagram, and Twitter.
Great, thank you so much, Helena. That was awesome. Frida, is there anything that you'd like to add as a co-founder of the organization?
Yeah, so firstly, I apologize for the background noise, but yeah, pretty much Bianca and I had founded the organization on very similar premises with just noticing that our communities, especially the youth in our communities, not really being as educated in the environment as they should, especially with climate change and all of that being a very prevalent issue. And yeah, Bianca and I just saw that we had an opportunity as we went to a high school that taught a lot about environmental science, and we really just went forth with our idea, and we definitely are passionate about providing a platform for other high school students to become their own sustainable leaders in the way that they can educate others. And yeah, we're pretty pleased with everything we've done. And again, Helena, that was a really good job. And of course, we also have our second annual Earth Day fair coming up, and with more details to come.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I am going to do a little bit of an explanation of like what's coming up for the climate challenge, but feel free if you have any questions for anyone that spoke today to go ahead and throw them in the chat, and then we can get to them when we're done discussing. So actually, I'm not sharing my screen. 1 second. Great. So we have had already a bunch of sessions for students. You can see all the ones that have recording on this side have already happened and are available on our YouTube playlist that you can find on our website as well at that bit.ly link that was shared. But we also have a bunch coming up. So this one right here, it just says raising awareness, but it actually has like a very long title, but it's really exciting. It's about like how to create behavior change and get people to take climate action and kind of take it to heart as to why we need to change. But we also have ones on idlings and EVs and a lot with food waste and fighting climate change with composting, which is really exciting. And then we also have some upcoming professional development, as well as the recordings for the previous ones, again, on that playlist on YouTube. It's the same playlist for everything climate challenge. So don't worry, you'll all find it all in one spot. But we have one coming up next week about integrating climate change into your curricula. And that should be a really exciting one. And then, that bit.ly link was just shared once again. You'll find all of these resources at that bit.ly link. Things like a teacher guide, that's like a comprehensive guide on how to help your students be successful in this challenge. We have things like the official rules, consent forms that you have to fill out when you turn in your project, as well as a student guide, which is really focused on like the digital story and the action building of your project. So again, check out the bit.ly link for all of that. And if you are a teacher, please register to stay informed. So registering for the climate challenge does not mean that you have to turn in a project, but it does mean that you'll get a bunch of really great resources. We had a PD the other day about climate change education and like the standards changing and that kind of stuff. So we have like the report coming out that we'll be sharing with people at this email. That type of thing you'll get as well, which is very helpful. And right here is just some ways to keep in contact with us. So Sustainable Jersey, we have all of our socials here. We have SJ _ schools is the best way to kind of keep in touch with the schools program. And then we have our climate challenge email. So you'll be able to reach me, Renee, and Andrea with any questions about the challenge going forward. And then let me stop my share because I see there's some action going on in the chat. All right, so it looks like a lot of really great links. And what I can do is hopefully send out an email to all of our registered teachers that we can kind of get those links out to students. And a good reminder is that, some students might be able to do like project action, climate action projects under these organizations. So getting involved with one of these organizations, maybe starting something under them or, getting resources from them can really help your students kind of start their own thing with the climate challenge. Yeah, so thank you so much. And Frida wants to know if there are any elementary or middle school teachers, feel free to contact the Green Cause to collaborate. And that's a great plug because the Green Cause, their programming is geared towards elementary and middle school students. So they can come to your class that are probably virtually. Is that how you're doing it, right? Yeah, so they can come to your class virtually and kind of do like a lesson plan for the day, which is really cool. Great, so we will be signing off now. Thank you so much for attending and thank you for all of our student panelists for joining us.